Only reason I dread coming to see y'all is because the cats.
I thought you did today.
And she said, well, bring the cats with you. And I said, no, I can't do that.
Why not?
Well, because they don't like to ride in
Well,
cars.
that's true.
They don't.
When we moved from Ski Island Lake to that house at Coolwell Santa Fe, we pulled in the garage, kids was holding the cat in the lap. When we opened the car doors to get out in the garage, he squealed, jumped out of the lap, and we've never seen him since.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, really.
They can't move cats. They don't.
They don't like it.
Well, now Willow, when I picked her up when she was 12 weeks old, she literally got up in my lap and put her front paws on the steering wheel.
No
She
kidding.
was driving with me.
She was still a kitten.
Yeah.
But you know, Simba, the cat we had before he died of the cancer, when we'd go out to Western Oklahoma for Thanksgiving, we'd take him,
Really?
and he loved that little apartment down
No
there.
kidding.
And when I brought him back home, he cried.
He didn't like it when I first put him in the car.
Well, he didn't like Dale. He wanted to stay out there.
That's right. That's what it was.
He liked that little apartment thing
Man.
we had there.
That's something.
I'm sorry we chased your wife and your son off.
Oh, he went to get my specs.
Oh,
But most cats after
it
they're
took both of them to
Yeah,
go
most
get them.
of
young,
I don't know where she went
they
now.
don't like- they all, you can't move them.
Yeah, so far,
They jump and run. And the minute you stop and you let them out, they're gone.
Yep.
Or at least ours was.
That just that sounds like Teresa's dog. I mean, minute you let her out, she's gone.
Really?
She's gone.
Well, you have to take them to the vet. They don't like the car.
Oh.
No.
I took our little tiger to the vet one time when we were going to Florida, and I was going to put him in a boarding school for while we were out. So I put him in his shots and stuff, and he's a tough little guy. And this nurse, the doctor there at Center Road in Waterloo,
Yeah.
the vet used to be there, Glover or whatever, she goes to check his temperature, and he goes, "Arr." And she goes, the doctor Glover, he comes over there and he gets that, and Tiger goes, "Arr." And he goes, Tiger goes,
Okay. You're bigger than me. I guess you would hurt.
I guess so.
He buffaloed the gal, but he didn't.
Through here. Come on, come on, come on. We'll go further than that. Submit it to God. Submit to God.
you got your grandkids coming over to check on them?
Yeah, our grandson
Or
is. He'll come over daily and feed them and check their water and clean their waters.
Karen, how you doing? I still enjoy that.
So good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too.
Surprise.
Really?
We tore up that salad you made us, that fruit salad. It was good. Thea came and got half of it. I said, nah, he can't come over here no
He wouldn't
more.
let me have it. I wanted it. He wouldn't let me have it.
Had fruit all in it. Oh, it was good. It was good.
I know whose friends he. What's his friends?
We can go.
He goes to Bonanza with Jack and Pat, but he never invites me.
Well, I'm gonna come by and get you one day, but you got to stay with us the whole day, though.
Jack and Pat never invite me to Bonanza either.
You can't get away from your cats.
Put
You
her
mean golden crab?
Oh, yeah.
golden girl.
That's what I had last today.
Well, I had a chicken sandwich from the heart hospital because I had to have an echocardiogram today.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe in suspense.
She said, I asked her, I said, am I still alive? She said, well, I think so.
As slow as your
She
heart
says-
beats, I'm
she
surprised
says,
the
but
cardiogram
doctor
can keep
will
up.
Tell you the results here in a couple of days.
You know what? That's how long it takes to get the results off your heartbeat.
Well, you know, I noticed something today when I went to the heart hospital. There was this sign that says,
Oh.
slow patient crossing.
I can
So
see.
I had to slow down.
I like that slow children play.
So we're on page 2 of the lesson. If you have your copy, and we'll go on and get started. Thank you, my son and my wife, for going and get my other specs. I leave prayer in the house. Then I said, when I get to church, I put them other ones on. Then when I get to church, all excitement breaks out, and I forget to grab something. So, but I'm thankful unto you all for praying for me while I was out, realizing that I was in I was in pain, but yet God still blessed me every day. As long as I was sitting down, I was fine. But if I get up and walk 2 feet, I feel like somebody would stab me with a knife all up down my leg. But I made it through that, and God had blessed me with a doctor that Dale recommended, and we talked to her, and she really seemed like she knows what she's doing. And like I said, I thought I was going to do an MRI sometime next week, but I got in yesterday, and that was great. So hopefully she got all that information, and we can move along with my recovery. But before I left, I said, but I'm still in pain and stuff. She said, I'll take care of you. So she gave me this pill to take one night, every night, and just take it at nighttime, and you'll be able to sleep good. And I think it must be time release, because I get sleepy during the day. I said, I took the pill last night. Why am I getting sleepy now? And they said, well, it's just to relax the muscles in your legs. So I said, okay. And lately I've been doing pretty good, and I thank God for that. And I called Dale. I said, I think I'll be there tonight, unless something else happened, a tornado come through or something like that. But I'm thankful unto God. I'm thankful for all the prayers, all the calls. I got many calls, many prayers, many cards. Those things are just really encouraging. It reminds me of what Jesus in Matthew 24, when he talk about what the end gonna be like. The sheep's on the right, sheep's on the left, and goats on the sheep's on the right, goats on the left. Yeah, there you go.
Matthew 25.
And Jesus said that, he said, when I was sick and in prison, you visited me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was all these things, he said, you took care of me. But those on the right kept saying, well, Lord, when do we see you like that? Jesus said, inasmuch as you've done it to the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. So I know that you all are children of God, and you believe in God, and you do those things that the Bible teaches. And that's what's so important about being a child of God. You have Christian brothers and sisters that really care for you. And just like if Jesus was down here himself, you'll do the same thing. But we know where Jesus is, and because he's there, and then because he have taught you all what it means to care for one another, that is very, encouraging. It was encouraging to me to know that there are members of the body of Christ who love you, who care for you, who pray for you, and really those prayers have been truly answered. So let's continue to do that. I might not be the next one, but whoever it is, let's do all we can to encourage and be there for one another. Yes, sir.
Just to help you remember to put the sheep on the right and the goats are on the left.
No.
Republicans are on the right and the Democrats are on the left.
Got a point.
Yeah.
Which one's the goat, which one's the sheep?
Well, I don't even know about the Republicans anymore.
Yeah, they confused. When they leave God, they seem like they get come out with one voice, but you can't get people to do that no more. But then again, we're not going to talk about politics. Good to see you, Myra. You understand what a juke joint is now?
Me?
Yeah. It's good to see you, brother. Good to see all of you. Well, we're on page 2 of the lesson of chapter 4, and I think we ended about right here. We'll continue to look at that, and really, true religion draws nearer to God, and that's what we want to talk about tonight, about submitting ourselves to God. When you look at 3:17, let me go back and look at something here. We've been talking about, when we talk about there's war, we know from whence come war and fighting, and James says in James 4:1 through 5. Before we do that, let's go to the throne of God in prayer. Our Father and our God, dear Lord, it is again that we humbly bow before Thee, realizing, dear Lord, that Thou art God, there is no other before Thee. We come with humble minds and humble spirit, dear Lord, knowing that You are the great physician. You are the one that help us through our times of trials and tribulation, through our pains and sorrows, dear Lord. You are there for us. Help us to always be mindful of Thee in our life, that as we continue on, and realizing, the Lord, that Thou art the great helper in our life, Thou art the great one who strengthens us on a daily basis. Bless us, the Lord, as we study Thy word, that everything that that we studied tonight, dear Lord, that we'll continue to apply it to our life, that we may continue to live for Thee and always be living epistles and living example in this sin-sick world. Bless those, dear Lord, who are ill among us and who are convalescent at home and who are ill, dear Lord, that You will bless them physically and spiritually. Heal their bodies, dear Lord, and give them the strength that they need to go through each day. Bless us in this study, dear Lord, and all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. James said, from which come wars and fighting among you, come thou not hence, even of your lusts that war, he says, in your members. You lust and have not. He said, you kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you have not because you ask not. You ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your visit. You adulterers and adulterer, know you not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? And whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. First of all, James is telling us in these few verses, I'm just giving you a recap of what we have studied. It said war with God. Here's the root cause of every internal and external. It said there's a rebellion against God in some way, those at war with others, also at war within themselves. I mean, we talked about those things, because there are first at war with God. And I maintain that those who do not know God and those who don't have a relationship with God will have the tendency to reach out to others, not reach out in a way that is good, but reach out in a way that is bad. You know, we do bad things, we do terrible things because our relationship with God is not where it should be. We're not able to go to God and understand that these things that we're doing in this physical body is not what God commands us to do. But God commands us to do according to His will. How does a believer declare war against God? By being friendly with God's enemy. And God's enemies are those of the world. James mentioned 3 enemies we must not fraternize with if we want to be at peace with God. And one of them is the world. In other words, if we are a friend with the world, this is the human society that is contrary to God. Any conduct, belief, thought, which is anti-God and anti-Christ. And we're living in a world today and we are visible of those things. People don't want to hear about God. They don't want to talk about God. They don't even want to have a relationship with God. What they want to do is what's in their own mind, and they say some terrible things, realizing that even though the things that they're saying, they can't back it up. You know, we're this, we're that, we're all about this. And really they're all about themselves. As to be friend of such makes one an enemy of God. When you are an enemy of God, that's a terrible place to be. You know, I was watching a story, I don't know if you ever seen the series about the mummies. And one was asked about the one who was friend with the enemy. He said, I'd rather be a friend with the enemy than to be his enemy. Because if I'm his enemy, he's going to hate me. But if I'm his friend, he's going to take care of me. But what about those who are, have a relationship with God? I'd rather be a friend of God than try to be a friend with the devil. Because, one thing about God that I've understand and I've learned in life is that God is always show you the beginning, what life is all about and what you should be all about. He always shows the middle. If you trust me, if you have faith in me, these things was going to come about. In other words, I'm going to take care of you when you petition me in prayer. Then he said, if you are faithful to the end, he said, I give you a crown of life that fadeth not away. In other words, he showed you the beginning, the middle, and the end. The devil cannot show you that. The devil can only show you, don't serve God yet. He's already doomed. And whoever is following him will fall in that same situation. So it makes one a spiritual adulterer and adulteress, one that who is an enemy of God. Not only are you separated with God, but you're going out and playing with the world. You're doing the things that the world tells you to do. In other words, the world has your ear. Realizing those things separate you from God because God has no part with those things that are the devil and those things that are evil with the devil. So why will a child of God, or why will one want to play with the devil? Because he's fun. You know, when we were little, we always say, I want to play with, Myron because he's fun. He's able to do this, he's able to do that. We can go fishing, we can go basketball playing. But what about the devil? He gonna tell you everything that is against God. That's why I err on the side of caution to always serve God. And really, in serving God is not one is not a, what people call, like you're in a race, is not a sprint, but what is a marathon. Long as you keep running, long as you keep moving, long as you keep serving God, you're going to get to the end. You might not get there as fast as, Myron and Arthell, or who else young here. I put Chris in there too. You're not going to get there that fast, but, we'll get there. And I get there, hopping along, I get there. But I know that when I put my faith and my trust in God, that it's not given to the one that's, that finished first, but it's given to the one that's endured to the end. Question, comment. As we move along, the second thing that causes war against God is the flesh. One thing about our flesh, it desires a lot, don't it? Whether it's food, whether it's entertainment, whether it's power, whether it's, prestige, whether it's money, whether, anything the flesh can desire. Those things are before us. And when we allow those things to intercede in our life to the extent that it causes us to drive us away from God, we don't need those things in our life. And it's also said, when you talk about the flesh, the unlawful desire that will lead us away from God. We notice that when we travel with our children and when we travel with our, our little ones, we don't want them out of our sight because we know there are certain things out there that will draw them away. Oh, Daddy, there's a motorcycle. Tell you this story, then we'll move on. Oh, Peter and I were walking in the Walmart, and we had Theo with us. He was walking with us and everything. Next thing you know, we didn't see him. He had hopped on a Harley Davidson behind me. I said, boy, get off this. So it goes to show, that desire to, to want to go out and do things, it's just like, we tell the story about the school of fish. They were swimming and everything. Long as they stayed in the school, they were fine. But one of them saw a hook that was saw this worm that was, that was delicious. So he said, well, I can sneak over there and get that worm and come back, I'll be all right. Not realizing, Jack had been fishing that day, gone fishing that day. And he trying to catch that big bass. That's all he wanted, that trophy fish. But it goes to show you there are fleshly desires that we have in this world to the extent that it draws us away from God. And there are many things that draw away from God. And when we allow these things to draw us away, God don't have no pleasure in those things. No, God don't want any one of us to be a part of what the world is all about. Even though you're in the world, he said, what? Don't be of the world. And he tells you, John tells you, and John 2 tells you what is in the world. I think it's John 2. Lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Those things that are in the world, God has no part of that. And the devil, he hasn't changed his tricks. He may bring it before you in a different way, wrap it up in a different package. You get the same present as a year where, you got a toy last year, your mother and father wrapped that same toy up and put it in there. Well, I got this last year, well, that's nothing new. But it goes to show you that our fleshly desire should never be of the devil. And the devil, like I said, he's going to come at you one or three ways. And that's why Peter tells us what? Be sober, be vigilant. For your adversary, the devil, is walking around like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. And these desire wages of war within us, but we must not give in to them. Look what 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11 says. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11 says, Peter says this, Beloved, I beg you as sojourners and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. Everyone has a soul. All God's creation, a man and a woman, from Adam and Eve up to this time, have a soul. And he said those things that are the world, they war against the soul. And many times we are overcome or we are succumb to those things that allow us to have pleasure in those things, but pleasure is only for a season. But our pleasure in God is everlasting. It's a joyous relationship that we have with God. Because just think of it this way. Trials and tribulations just don't come once a month, once a year, or once a week, or maybe once a day. They come all the time. That's why Paul said what in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, tell us to put on the whole armor of God, that we may be able to withstand from the evil days. And I say the evil days are always coming. They're always coming. That's why he said you put on the whole armor of God, that you may defend yourself from the wiles of the devil. Question or comment? Then he talks about the one that does all these temptation and desires. He said the devil. Pride is Satan's greatest temptation. Think about it. Satan tempts you, you're powerful. Oh, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I can do this, I can do that. You can't do nothing without God. But Satan knows that. But we, as many times as humans, do not know that. We give in to those things and think that those things are going to help us in this life, realizing we done spent 20 years doing those things, knowing that they haven't helped us at all. You ever been in a situation where maybe you just had a week of doing something? Then you ask yourself, what is the benefit? What is the results? And I know you know as children of God, what is the benefit of serving a living God? The one who created all things, the one who is able to do all things. But the Bible says he's all powerful and all knowing, all omnipotent. He knows everything. And sometimes we think when we were younger, we used to think that we got away with everything. Even our parents know we didn't get away. Our parents know when we did something wrong. And we didn't have telephone back then. But we get home, I know you acted up. So you got a whooping over there, you're going to get a whooping here. Because you know not to go over someone's house and act up. Because we didn't raise you like that. Question and comment. Then it said, when we give in to pride, we become friends of the devil and enemies of God. We look at verses 4 and 6. I got a question in that. Or is it a real good question? What is it like to be a friend of the devil?
You're going to be lost.
Well, number one, you're going to be lost. That's the bottom line of being a friend with the devil. But he can show you a good time. He can show you all these good things and exciting things, but they are not everlasting. Then when that falls, and they'll remember this movie, this show, Bedazzle. Every time the devil gives him a good one, he thinks this is life. He's with the girl he loved and everything, but she didn't love him. They come to find out she tricked him, but he gave him 7 wishes. And he said, I'm not playing this no more, because you're gonna ruin him every time anyway. Don't you know the devil does the same thing? There are people out here that are losing their life because they are friends with the devil. Question, comment. Yes, sir. Jack.
There's a lot of ways. You're talking about when you were young,
Uh-huh.
you don't realize as much. It draws near to God most time. Most people, especially the ones that are worldly. Age, as we grow older, things in our lives make different. We draw near to God, and the longer we stay near to God, the more wisdom we gather.
Right.
And in the same way with when younger people having a good time in the world,
Mm-hmm.
he'll question himself about God. And he kind of don't believe, but then he can't prove to himself that God's not alive. He can't.
Yeah.
The Bible kind of explains you go around in circles if you don't,
That's true.
So, and that really the way to live. Our age makes a difference.
That's very
The
true.
people around us make a big difference.
That's
People
true.
help us draw near to God.
Go down.
Just think about so many examples in the Bible. I was thinking about, like I said, like the prodigal son. When he got his father's inheritance and said that he fared sumptuously, but it wasn't until he was at his lowest point that's when he said that he came to himself.
True.
And I mean, just think about, like I said, ever since the beginning, I just think about how it was during Noah's time, where it said that he was a preacher, of God, preaching for 120 years, saying one day it's going to rain. But everybody during that time, I'm sure, was probably thinking,
Yeah.
like you said, I'm just saying, you just see some examples where, like even now, sometimes when you see certain things happen, and for me now, I can say I've been on this earth now nearly 40 years, and just seeing everything from the constant wars, because that's why I can understand, like Solomon said, how there's a time for war and a time for peace.
That's
there's
true.
a time for everything. Because it seems like, when things are going good, then that's when it seems like people, like you said, are at that mindset where they feel like, I don't need God or I don't need anybody. I can pull myself by my own bootstraps. But then when you see catastrophes happening, like right now over in Israel, over in Ukraine, over in the Middle East, I'm just saying, just seeing everything that's just going on in our world, and that's why I've just gotten to the point too now where I'm understanding, like what Solomon said, how there's nothing new under the sun. True. And how I can understand when he said after experiencing life itself, how you finally start realizing that a lot of things are just vanity.
That's very true.
Just meaningless, and that's why he ended Ecclesiastes saying, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter: serve God and keep His commandments, for that's the whole duty of man, and that's what's truly most important." And until people understand that, that's why things are continuing to keep going like the way they're going right now.
Do we see any change? Because you see wars going on, you see men still hating men. And we know the bottom line is that, they don't have a relationship with God. Because not only are they fighting with themselves, they're fighting with others to the extent that they're always, something about them. They have to be also in the limelight. My family knows, and probably others, there's certain people out there, if they're not on, in the limelight for a while, they'll do something drastic. Shave their head bald, or, do something or show something, provocative, just to get back in the limelight. But, you need to, they need to realize, just come out and say, I'm a human being. I want to know more about God. Pat, you had your hand up for a minute there.
I was just thinking about in the beginning of Adam and Eve, everything was perfect.
True.
We couldn't leave it alone. Could
Yeah.
we just couldn't obey God. We just had to taste that silly piece of fruit.
Yeah.
And it's been downhill ever since.
That's true.
Misery came into the world.
That's
That's what I'm
true.
talking about people in the world. The older you get, the more you realize. The
Mhm.
closer you get to God. We have changes in our life as we age.
That's true. But by those changes, there should be a lesson taught there.
It is.
You should learn something. I don't want to go down that road again, or I don't want to do that again. And then there's always lesson, but do we really understand and really grasp the lesson that should be learned? Pat?
The only way we can really learn is we've got to put our head in the scriptures and we've got to read these lessons that are in it.
That's
Before
true.
we will have the strength and the wisdom to resist
Mhm.
and realize, and see all the faults that everybody had that didn't listen to God. Because
That's
they're all
true.
in this book.
That's true. That's very true.
Every time you can learn not to just listen to God. He tells you not to, don't.
There are lessons that need to be learned. Like you said, they're all in the scriptures. But for some reason, preachers nowadays are going outside of the scriptures. They're going outside of, what if. They're going outside to the point where God didn't say do that. But it sounds good. It feels good. And you get a few people to follow you. you all go down the same road, knowing that that's what not God does not teach that. When God teaches you how to love your enemy, he shows you how to do it. You know, you be kind to them. If they need some water, get them water. If they need food, get them food. Show them kindness. Then by you showing them kindness, will soften their word. No, Paul said, and I think what the Solomon, whereby you heap fires of coal up on their head. You're getting them to think. Think about, why is Arthell being so nice to me and I'm being so mean to him? There's something about Arthell that no, I'm trying to change him, but he's not going along with it. One reason is because he has a relationship with God. The other reason is that, you know, he knows that going down these roads with the devil is not doing any good. Because we see the end results. And God tells you the end result. He says there's destruction if you go down this road. He said, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And he said there are going to be many that's going to find it, that's going to go in that way. But he said, if you want to serve God, he said, for wide is the gate and narrow is the way that leadeth to everlasting life. He said, and there'll be few that find it. We're going to have to search for a relationship with God. Jesus said, I stand at the door and knock. And who got to open that door? We do. And when we open that door, God said, I'll come in and sup with you and you with me. But many times we don't knock, we don't ask. But the devil said, well, I got something better for you. It's all this glimmering stuff, shiny stuff. Oh yeah, well, I can enjoy this. And we get on television, act the food, and wonder why our life are not what it should be every day. And that's one thing that we have to really understand. You know, you can't change what you did yesterday. All you have is today. Tomorrow is not promised to you. And don't go try to add and take away from tomorrow, in order to fulfill today. Do what you need to do today. If the Lord's will, then we'll deal with tomorrow. Now, my wife asked me many times, she said, what you want to do tomorrow? I said, oh, no, Then she said, well, we'll do this. I said, if the Lord's will, we'll do this and that. Yes, sir.
I got a question because I actually saw a guy I used to work with actually recently post this on his Facebook. And my question is, does it seem like we're living the last days, or we actually are living the last days?
We're living in the last days.
Because the reason why I asked that is because he posted that scripture in 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. I'm just going to briefly go over where it talks about, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses, and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now as James and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith, but they shall receive no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, as theirs also was.
Very good. And then when Paul and Peter wrote, they knew what the end day is going to be like. And we know what the end day is going to be like, because the Bible teaches us these things are going to happen. But knowing that, and we hope it don't be like the Thessalonians, but when that day is come, let's quit working, we're all just going to sit back and wait for the day. Now, Paul said you need to keep busy. Keep serving God. Keep doing good work. Keep working with your hands. Those things are important. When that day comes, it'll come. But don't you worry about it. What you need to worry about is your faithfulness and your trust in God should always be what it should be.
That's what I was just thinking. We don't want to rush. We don't want to worry about end times. We don't want to worry about it. The Bible says it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. We don't need to go through a lot of thinking about it and worrying about it. It makes life uncomfortable. You be nervous, whatever. It's not something we can avoid.
That's true. And we can't make it come quicker either. But all we can do is have our faith and our trust in God. Even in Jesus, Jesus doesn't know when the Father said end time would be. Only the Father knows. There.
The problem with what's going on today is everybody
Mhm.
goes to Matthew the 24th chapter, which was talking about the destruction of Jerusalem.
Right.
It was not talking about the destruction of the world, nor was it talking about the last days. From the time the church was established, we're in the last days.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy, 2 Timothy was written, this was probably the Apostle Paul's last letter that he wrote. He was in prison at the time.
Right.
Nero was the emperor of Rome at the time. Nero was a very despicable emperor
Mm.
who would do everything he could to kill Christians and to put them in jail, to torment them any way he could. When Paul is talking to Timothy about the last days and everything, which people tend to look at that and they want to say what's going on today. But if you go back to the history and everything, all the way back to 65 A.D.,
Mm-hmm.
Revelation was written around 95 A.D., and it was talking about the Roman Empire and how evil the Roman Empire was. I heard a guy the other day talk about the Antichrist will soon be here. Well, everybody who's against Christ is anti.
That's
They've
true.
been here for a long time.
That's true. That's true. And I don't understand when people study and read Revelation, because Revelation is not a hard book to understand if you are willing to study it with an open mind. But if you think of these things that are going to happen, okay, we're going to see a two-headed beast running up and down 15th Street or May Avenue. No, those things are not. And I look at it. I look at Revelation like this: from chapter 1 through chapter 4, he's writing to the 7 churches, letting them know y'all need to get your house in order. Then from chapter 5 through, I want to say through 19, he's letting you know, he's talking in parables, he's talking in apocalyptic time, understanding that a lot of those things has already happened. But those who are children of God know that these things that are happening. Then we get to the end of the chapter, it's talking about how God is going to save those who have been faithful unto him. And there's one, I think it was in chapter 6, that the Christian want to know, those who've been faithful to God, well, how long are you, when you going to avenge us? God said it won't be long. But right now we need to have our faith and trust in God. Then we'll allow these things, we'll allow these world prophets, and then there are many of them out there. There's apostle, prophet, and we know the Bible said that those things are going away, but yet people are still saying that I'm this and I'm that. But we know what the Word of God teaches. And we love what John wrote in chapter 20, 21, and 22 of Revelation. That should be a hallelujah good time for a child of God to know that God has prepared a place for us. John tries to tell us what it's all about and what they look like, and the walls of jaspers and the streets of gold. A place flowing with milk and honey. Those are things that a child of God understands that is something beautiful. But I say it's far better than that. Because when you don't have no pain, no sorrow, those things, we don't have to go to the doctor every day and all these things. I'm looking forward to that time that we don't have to do those things. But that time will come when Christ come back and we're able to meet him in heaven. I'm going to get Dale and Arthell. Did you have your hand, Chris?
I was just going to say that when you're talking about Revelation, some people may disagree with me a little bit, but John wrote to the 7 churches of Asia.
Right.
And the whole book of Revelation was written to those 7 churches of Asia.
Okay, I agree with
Telling
that.
them exactly what is happening to them now and what will happen to them and what they can look forward to.
Mm-hmm. True.
There was also a vision, wasn't it, of Jesus?
True. He was talking to one of the angels. Because the angel, when John met him, John fell down. He said, "No, I'm you don't worship me." Go to Chris.
Talking about Arthell, Facebook. A friend of mine put something on Facebook the other day, and I was like, stopped and thought about it. I was like, wow, it's true. He says, for a believer, earth is the closest we'll get to hell.
Mm-hmm.
For a non-believer, earth will be the closest they get to heaven. Wow.
That's something to think about, but it's probably true. Because an unbeliever would never know what the joys of heaven has to offer. But a believer knows that. He knows that these things down here are temporary. They're not permanent. Yes, sir.
No, I just want to back up what Jack was saying earlier about the things that we as Christians do need to focus on, because, you know, like I agree with him. Like he said, yes, we know that these things are going on around us, but this is the thing that we as Christians need to focus on. I'm coming from Philippians 4th chapter, verses 6, where it says, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you." So that's basically telling us that's what we actually really need to be focusing on.
That's true.
Not the things that's going on around us, but keeping our eyes fixed, you know, like you were doing in the gospel meeting, keeping our eyes towards the prize and what's really most important.
That's true. That's why Paul said, what in Galatians 3, verse number 2, to set our affection on things above and not on things of this earth. Because if we're always concentrating on things of this earth, we're going to be lost. Because we think that we can navigate our way through this. We need God in our life. That's why he said, set your affection, our hearts and our desire should be about those things that are above. That is where God is. And I know we didn't get further in this lesson, but that's where we need to be. When we talk about submitting to God's authority in verse 7 through 12, and we read that last time we hear, submit to God and resist the devil, and he will flee. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. And that is something that every child of God should do, not just once time in their life, just not because you had just gotten baptized, okay, I draw near to God. But that should be a daily drawing near to God. Draw near to God in prayer. Draw near to God in studying his word. Draw near to one another as children of God. Because we always know that there are those who out there are striving the same way that we're going. You know, it gave us great, I'm talking about my sharecropping days now. You know, when we all in the cotton field, you got 10 or 15 people. Don't be laughing, Myra. They ain't oh yeah. We was on somebody else's land, But when you got 10 or 15s out there and we all picking cotton, all of us is encouraging one another. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. You could not beat my sister. You talking about a good 200 or 300 pounder? Oh, she did that every day. Cotton is so light, so you got to pack it in there, But, encourage one another. We encourage one another, whether we picking peas or chopping cotton. We know we need to get there. Get him. Good evening, good on.
I understand the sharecropping days. My mother, when we would work for other farmers, chopping cotton.
Yeah, we did that too.
My mother would get paid twice as much as anybody else to leave the field. She'd tell her stories. Everybody chopped cotton like crazy.
Keep y'all going, or just
I'm serious.
it's just like the guys out there working on the railroad, guys singing that song, whoa, ho, turn, up, up, just like those in the service. When you out there marching to a tune, what are you marching to, Myron? What song they be singing? Hey, huh?
Now or back then?
Back then or now when you first got in there?
Oh, we had all kind of cadences when I was there.
But everybody was in unison, right? They was marching, whether around the track or where, you're getting the people to do the thing, do the job. What about us as children of God? Let's keep encouraging one another to be faithful to God. And then when we see one is lacking, help them up, help them on. And we're going to end on that note.
You got a real good point there. Christians help one another, brothers help